أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. Let us move on to our next murakkab. And before we go into the woods with this big chart, I'm going to bring our boy back, and I'm going to focus mainly on this kalima, which is haza, to start with. We started off with a phrase. We said a good boy, and translated as waladun hasanan. Waladun hasanan. Now we want to say this boy. This boy. How do we say this boy in Arabic? Let's analyze this phrase in English first. This is this is a demonstrative pronoun and a noun to point to someone or something, etc. And boy is what is being pointed at. So we have demonstrative pronoun and a noun at which we are pointing. So that's our English phrase, this boy. What about Arabic terminology? So in Arabic, demonstrative pronoun is called ismul isharati. Ismul isharati. And if you look at this construction, it is murakkab idafi. We've got mudaf and we've got mudaf ilayh here. So ismul isharati. Ishara means sign or pointing, and basically means noun of pointing. And boy here is musharun ilayh. Musharun ilayh. So we have this combination of ismul ishara and musharun ilayh, and they combine to make murakkab ishari. So this is our next phrase. English translation, we can say demonstrative phrase. So we have got our demonstrative phrase here. So we have ismu ishara and we have musharun ilayh. So this is a demonstrative pronoun, and we are pointing to this noun, which is musharun ilayh, and we have come up with the demonstrative phrase. Let us translate this. We have our vocabulary. We know boy in Arabic is waladun. Waladun, and this we know it's haza. We are quite familiar with that as well. Haza. And putting this together, let's put this together. Haza waladun. Now the point here is whether this is correct as far as Murakkab Ishari is concerned. Let us look at it. We know that for correct use of a noun in a sentence, we will have to be familiar with 4 characteristics of a noun, and those 4 characteristics are definiteness, i'rab, jins, and adad. So if we analyze these 2 nouns from those 4 characteristics points of view, so we have haza. We know all pronouns are definite, so haza is definite. I'rab, haza is mabni. We know that from previous discussion. Mabni. Mabni means it does have 3 Arabic states, but it doesn't change its appearance. So it is haza, haza, haza. So in rafa, nasab, and jar, it remains haza. Haza in rafa, haza in nasab, haza in jar. So it's mabni. It is muzakkar from the gender point of view, muzakkar, masculine, and it is wahid, singular. Let us look at waladun. It is indefinite. Tanween tells us that it's indefinite. Tanween also tells us that it is marfu. It is in rafa. It is muzakkar, boy, and it's singular, it's wahid. So that's our analysis of these 2 nouns as far as the 4 characteristics of a noun are concerned. Now if we say haza waladun, put this together, so haza being definite, and at the beginning of a sentence it fulfills the requirements to become mubtada. So it can take the slot of mubtada. Waladun is indefinite, and we know khabar is usually indefinite, and because of this being indefinite, it can take the slot of khabar. So mubtada and khabar will combine to make jumla ismiya khabariya, and our translation will be this is a boy. So this is not really this boy. This is a boy. Information is complete. It is a sentence. When we say this boy, information is not complete. Our listeners are still wondering what about this boy. So the information remains incomplete in Murakkab Ishari. So how do we construct Murakkab Ishari from here? So we have got our vocabulary. All we have to do is to put al on this noun. So we'll have to make this al waladu. Al waladu. When al comes, the name goes, we know that. And then we prefix this with haza. Haza. And because this is Hamzatul Wasl, it will not be pronounced, it will become hazal waladu. It will remain there in writing, but it is not going to be pronounced. So our construction is hazal waladu, this boy. And this is our Murakkab Ishari, this boy. That's our Murakkab Ishari. There's important point here that musharun ilah, this is our ism ishara, and that's musharun ilah, and musharun ilah must have al on it. If a noun does not have al on it, it cannot be musharun ilah. So this is one important requirement for musharun ilah, is that it must have al on it. And when waladun will have al on it in the form of al waladu, our construction will be hazal waladu. So remember, I'm saying that musharun alayh must have al on it. I did not say musharun alayh must be definite. Of course this is definite because of being al, but there could be some other definite nouns. For example, if we say, rather than saying hazal waladu, if we say haza hamidun, haza hamidun. So hamid being a proper noun, ism alam is definite, but this does not make this musharun alayh. Musharun alayh must have al on it. This will remain jumla ismiya. Haza hamidun. This is hamid. Hamid is definite here, and in this construction hamid is khabar, and this is mubtada. We know khabar is usually indefinite, but khabar could be definite as well, and there are circumstances when it becomes difficult to bring the khabar as indefinite. For example, in Surah Yusuf, we are familiar with that ayah. Ana Yusufu wa haza akhi. Ana Yusufu. I am Yusuf. So that's mubtada. And this is khabar. So Yusuf is definite here and the khabar is definite because we cannot really make Yusuf indefinite. Yusuf is ism alam. And even the next part of the ayah, wahaza akhi. Haza akhi. Haza is our mubtada here, and akh is mudaf, and ya pronoun is mudaf ilayh. Because ya pronoun is definite, all pronouns are definite, so akh here, akhun here is definite. So basically our khabar in the form of murakkab idafi is definite here. So khabar is definite here and khabar is also definite here in this sentence. So khabar is usually indefinite, but it could be definite when it becomes very difficult to make it indefinite. Let's go back on hazal waladu. Which is our phrase. Hazal waladu. This boy. Murakkab ishari. Now let us look back at 4 characteristics of a noun, and those are definiteness, i'rab, jins, and adad. So we can make a statement here, and this statement is true, that ism ishara and musharun alayh must match in 4 aspects of a noun, which means if ism ishara is singular, musharun alayh must be singular. If ism ishara is definite, that should be definite. But this should be definite by al, not by any other means. That's the only exception. And then if ism ishara is wahid, this must be wahid. If ism ishara is muannas, this must be muannas. And if this is in rafa, musharun alayh must be in rafa, and then nasab and jar, and so on. So it is like murakkab tawsifi, where sifa follows mawsoof in all the 4 characteristics. Here ishara and musharun alayh must tally in all these 4 aspects. So how do we know the i'rab of haza? Because haza, the appearance haza remains the same, whether it's rafa, nasab, or jar. So to make out the i'rab of haza or ism ishara, we will have to look at musharun ilayh. If musharun ilayh is definite, in Rafa, then Ism Ishara will be considered to be in Rafa, and we will say Fi Mahalli Raf'in, Fi Mahalli Raf'in, in the Mahal of Rafa, in the place of Rafa. Similarly, it could be Hazal Waladu, depending on its place in a sentence, so that will be Nasab. And similarly, it could be Hazal Waladi, and that will be Jar. So here, Haza will be considered to be in Jar. So that's how we make out the i'rab of Haza, which is Mabni. We can complete this sentence. We can say Hazal Waladu Hasanun. Hasanun. This boy, which is Ism Ishara and plus Musharun Ilayh, here they combine to make Mubtada, and Hasanun being indefinite is our khabar, and Mubtada and khabar combine to make Jumla Ismiya Khabariya. So now we can say Hazal, should be Waladu, Khab, Mubtada is always in Rafa, so Hazal Waladu Hasanun. This boy is good. The translation of Hasanun could be good. We can also say beautiful. And we can also say smart. So just like in any other language, for example, English or Urdu or French, some words can have more than one meaning. So Hasanun can have all these three meanings, and it will depend on the context, what translation we do. So if the discussion is whether the boy is good or bad, we will say the boy is good, which means not bad. If the discussion is whether the boy is beautiful or ugly, we will say the boy is beautiful, not ugly. That's what we are basically saying. And if our discussion is the boy smart or dull, so we are saying the boy is smart or clever, which means not dull. Similarly, Quran translations sometimes vary from person to person depending on who is the scholar and in what context they are doing the translations. All the translations are correct, but it depends really on the context and how the words are used and what is their meaning considered to be in a particular translation. Right. So, Hazal Waladu Hasanun. So that's one point of al being on Musharun Ilayh. The second point is if I say this pen is beautiful, well, it's probably not beautiful, but that's not the point. For argument's sake, I'll say this pen is beautiful. I can also say this is beautiful. So, which basically means when I say this is beautiful, you know what I'm talking about because this is what I'm pointing to. So, this pen is beautiful. We have got Ishara and Musharun Ilayh there, this pen. And when I say this is beautiful, then we do not have Musharun Ilayh there. Musharun Ilayh has been dropped, or we can say Musharun Ilayh is mahzuf. So let us translate this. This pen is beautiful. Hazal Kalamu, this pen, Hazal Kalamu, you can say Jamilun. Is beautiful. Or we can say Haza Jamilun. in this case here, this musharun alayh is mahzuf. It has been dropped. Because when we say haza jamilun, jamilun is indefinite, so it cannot be musharun alayh. Indefinite means it doesn't have al on it. So this cannot be musharun alayh. But in this case, then this al-kalamu, which is musharun alayh, is considered to be mahzuf or dropped. And in Quran Pak, there are many examples when different words are dropped but considered to be there. This could be one of those constructions. So before we look at further examples, let us go through that chart, which is very important. Now we have looked at haza. Haza is, these are called asma'ul isharati. Ism is singular and asma is plural. Asma'ul isharati. On the horizontal plane we have wahid, tasniya and jama. On the vertical plane we have muzakkar and muannas for both. So if we look at haza, that's wahid muzakkar and hazihi is wahid muannas for saying this. These are demonstrative pronouns to point to things which are near to us. Qareeb means close by or near to us. So asma'ul isharati lil qareeb. So these 6 are demonstrative pronouns to point at something which is close to us, near to us. So haza, hazihi. Haza is mabni, haza, haza, haza. Hazihi is similarly mabni, hazihi, hazihi, hazihi in 3 Arabic states. Then we have tasniya, which is hadani, and these 2, and hatani, these 2 feminine. And our jama is haula'i for both muzakkar and muannas. Jama is the same, the plural is the same, haula'i. Now looking at this, this is mabni, and haula'i is also mabni. Haula'i, haula'i, haula'i. But tasniya is mu'rab. So for rafa we will say hazani. For nasab and jar we will say hazaini. So hazani, hazaini, hazaini. Similarly, hatani, hataini, hataini. So hatani in rafa, hataini in nasab, and then hataini in jar. So these are demonstrative pronouns of things which are close to us. These are demonstrative pronouns of distance. So asma'ul isharati lil ba'id. Ba'id means something which is at a distance, away from us. And these are zalika for wahid and muzakkar, and tilka for muannas. And similarly, both of these are mabni. For tasniya we have zanika and tanika for muannas. And for plural we have ulaika. It's important to pronounce this ulaika, not ulaika, because wa is silent here. It's written but it's silent. There is a reason for that. We can't go into that today. So ulaika, not ulaika. Ulaika. So zalika, tilka, and ulaika, they are mabni. But again, tasniya here, they are mu'rab. And in rafa we will say zanika. And in nasab and jar we are going to say zainika. So zanika, zainika, zainika. Similarly, tanika, tainika, tainika. So it's really all to do with memorizing. There is no shortcut to that. Either we make use of these pronouns on a day-to-day basis and we become familiar with them. Alternatively, we just have to memorize them the way we memorize the chart of personal pronouns. So just keep that in mind, and that's how it goes. Let's look at some more examples. We want to say that book. That book. So book is kitabun. Kitabun, and we're going to put al on it. It will come al kitabu. Al kitabu. And for that, book is a muzakkar, kitab is muzakkar, so we will have to find muzakkar of distance, which is zalika. So we're gonna prefix this with zalika, zalika. So that will become zalikal kitabu. This is hamzatul wasl, so it becomes zalikal kitabu, that book. Now this is at the beginning of Surah Baqarah. We all know that. Alif Lam Mim Zalikal Kitabu. So you must be wondering then, because all the translations say this book, La Rayba Fihi, there is no doubt in it. But here we are saying that book, Zalika. So why is that? There is a very good reason for that. So Zalikal Kitabu, because the book is in our hand and we are saying that book. Okay, so the construction is not Hazal Kitabu, it's Zalikal Kitabu. And a couple of points to note about that. First, let us look at Kitab. Kitab in classical Arabic does not really mean book. And also we are calling this kitab, but when Quran was revealed, it was not really revealed as a book. It was revealed bit by bit over a long period of time. In modern standard Arabic, when we say kitab, we translate that as a book. But in classical Arabic, kitab is not a book. It is actually a masdar. So we have fail, which is verb, which is kataba, he wrote, kataba, he wrote, which is madi, and mudare is yaktubu. We know a little bit about fail. Kataba yaktubu, and then its masdar is kitabatun, and there's another masdar for this, which is kitabun. Many verbs are associated with more than one masdar, and this is one of the examples. So kitabun being masdar, and we know masdar is an abstract concept, which basically means the action of writing. Okay, so kitab in classical Arabic is then translated variously as writing, depending on the context. It could be writing, a decree. We can say a prescription. We can say a judgment, and we can say a record or a register. So those are the meanings of kitab in classical Arabic. You can say scripture, so it's a writing, it's a decree, it could be translated as prescription, judgment, scripture, record, register. For example, we are very familiar with the ayah Kutiba alaykumus siyam. Kotiba from the same kataba here. Kotiba alaykum as-siyam. Wrong. So kotiba alaykum as-siyam. Kotiba alaykum as-siyam, which is translated as fasting has been prescribed for you. Not really written for you, but prescribed for you. It's kind of prescription, isn't it? So kitab could easily be translated as prescription. There's another ayah which is ayah of Surah Tawbah, ayah number 36. It says, Inna iddata shuhuri indallahi isna ashra shahran fi kitabillahi. Indeed, the number of months with Allah is 12 lunar months. And fi kitabillahi here does not mean in the book of Allah. We can say in the register of Allah or in the record of Allah. So it is kind of decreeing here that there are 12 months. Allah decided to have 12 months rather than 13 months or 14 months, for example. So it's a decreeing 12 months. So again, kitab, fi kitabillahi here does not mean in the book of Allah, in the record of Allah, in the register of Allah. So that kind of meaning. And our phrase is zalikal kitabu. Zalikal kitabu. So kitab has its indefinite form will be kitabun. So it's al-kitabu. And this al of definiteness has a number of meaning in Arabic. One of its meaning is to single out something to be the highest as well as perfection kind of thing. And that is the meaning of al here in al-kitab. It obviously means a scripture with the decrees from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it has commands, prohibitions, etc. It actually does not mean a book. So the question is why the demonstrative pronoun of distance has been used here, zalikal kitabu rather than hazal kitabu. Scholars has given different explanations. Two of them I did like them, and they are supported by Quran. For example, we have a couple of ayah from Surah Al-Buruj, which is Surah 85, and these ayah are 21 and 22. So the first one is Bal Huwa Qur'anun Majidun. Qur'anun Majidun. That's how it's written. Quran Majid. That's ayah number 21. Qur'anun Majidun. Fi Lawhim Mahfuzin. Lawhim Mahfuzin 22. So what we are saying is, what Quran says here is, but this is an honored Quran inscribed in a preserved slate or tablet. So where is Quran? Quran is in Law Mahfuz, which is higher up at a distance, and that shows the distance. That's where Quran is. We have a copy of that, exact copy, but we do not have the original, which is fi lawhin mahfuzin, in a preserved slate or tablet. So that really shows us the distance clearly. It is higher up there, and hence zalika. There is another explanation given by scholars, and that is to do with la rayba fihi. La rayba fihi. There is absolutely no doubt in it whatsoever, and that comes from this, the way the raib is written here. So la rayba fihi. Okay, in Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says there is no doubt in it. But what if somebody has doubt in it, for example? Then we have another ayah in Ruku number 3 of Surah Baqarah, not very far from this. I think it's ayah number 23, and it says, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ مِّمَّا نَزَّلْنَا عَلَىٰ عَبْدِنَا فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِّثْلِهِ وَادْعُوا شُهَدَاءَكُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. There is no doubt in it, but if you have a doubt what we have sent upon our servant, then produce a surah like this thereof, and call upon your witnesses other than Allah, if you should be truthful. And the next ayah actually is, challenge is really a huge challenge. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا, and if you're not able to do so, وَلَن تَفْعَلُوا, and you will never be able to do so, فَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ الَّتِي وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ أُعِدَّتْ لِلْكَافِرِينَ. So be prepared for the fire. Biggest challenge, and that challenge has not been met so far. So this basically points out that all the writings, Quran is kind of, because no one has been able to produce such a writing, even one surah, and the smallest surah is only 3 ayahs, Surah Qasr, Surah Nasr, and Surah Asr. So no one has been able to bring anything close to the like of this. And this basically means the Quran is here, and all the other writings, they're somewhere here. So there is a distance. It shows the high rank of Quran, and because of this high rank of Quran, demonstrative pronoun of distance has been used. Scholars also say that this ranking or greatness is, or distance could be horizontal or vertical. When it's vertical, it shows the high rank of something or someone, etc. So that's another way of looking at it, that anything which has got high rank, demonstrative pronoun of distance has been used generally in Arabic, especially in good Arabic prose or in poetry as well. So Quran is there and everything else is here. So hence Zalikal Kitabu. I hope that has made sense. That wasn't all to do with the grammar, but this was really, really important, so I thought I should spend a little bit of time on it. Now let us look at some other examples. If we want to say these 2 boys, these 2 boys, how do we translate that? These means, we'll have to go there in the chart. These, they're nearby. These 2 hazani. So we can use that here, hazani. Let's go first to boys. Waladun and tasniya will be waladani. waladani. And we have to put al on it, will become al waladani. And then we bring from here hazani, prefix this with hazani, hazani. This hamzatul wasl, this becomes hazanil waladani, these two boys. That will be our rafa construction. So waladani in rafa, in nasb and jar will be waladaini. So that will become al waladaini. And this will become hazaini, to go with that. Hazainil waladaini. Translation remains the same, these two boys. And jar will also be hazainil waladaini. Now if we want to say for example, we want to say this girl. So girl is bintun. Add al on it, will become al bint. Al bint, and because this is feminine singular, we have to bring, for this will be hazihi. So prefix this with hazihi, like that. And because we have, this is hamzatul wasl again, so we'll have to combine this hazihi with bintu, and this standing kasra becomes normal kasra when it is combined with the word after. So it will become hazihil bintu, this girl. And if we want to say that girl, we will just say tilka. Tilkal bintu, that girl. Okay, now we want to say, let's make this, make a plural construction. We'll say these boys. That's now plural, these boys. So waladun is singular and its plural is awladun. And we have to add al on it, will become al awladu. Al awladu, tanween will go. Al awladu. So this is jama mukassar of this waladun. And we have to prefix that with haula'i. Haula'i. Although this has kasra here, but that's because this is mabni, so that doesn't really mean anything. This is mabni, and this i'rab of this will not be jar here. We shouldn't get confused with this kasra. We have to find out the i'rab from here. So this is in rafa, so that is also in state of rafa. So haula il awladu, so we remove, combine these two. Haula il awladu, these boys. There is an important point here which I'm going to make, that when a noun is jama mukassar of muzakkar, waladun is muzakkar and this is jama mukassar of this muzakkar, it is permissible to bring ism ishara as singular feminine. So we can write here, this is correct anyway according to the rules, but we can also say hazihil oneness, hazihil awladu, these boys, hazihil awladu, these boys. This is correct and this is correct anyway because this is according to the rules, but if you want to have a high quality refined prose, normally that construction will be used and in poetry as well, for example. So hazihil awladu, these boys, is the same thing. Similarly, let us look at another construction. Rasulun is messenger, it's a singular, Rasulun. Rasul are messenger, and its plural is Rusulun, Rusulu. Rusulun here without al. Rasulun, Rusulun. So this is Jama Mukassar of plural. So if we want to say those messengers, we can say messengers, add al here, ar-rusulu, to make it musharun alayh, ar-rusulu, and we can say ulaika ar-rusulu. Ulaika ar-rusulu. So those messengers. Because this is Jama Mukassar of Muzakkar, so we are also permitted to say and write Tilkar Rusulu. Bring feminine singular demonstrative pronouns. Til Kar Rusulu. So para 3 of Quran, which is continuation of Surah Baqarah, we have at the beginning there Tilkar Rusulu faddalna ba'dahum ala ba'din. These are the Rasuls, messengers, we have exalted some above others. So tilka has been used. Why then again demonstrative pronoun of distance? Because we're not really saying zali kar rusulu, because the translation is these messengers. We actually appear to be saying those messengers, tilka rather than zali kar rusulu. So tilka rusulu, because these messengers, they've got high rank, and because of their high rank, demonstrative pronoun of distance has been used. So there are 2 points here. One, the use of tilka as a singular feminine, and also this being the demonstrative pronoun of distance. Similarly, we have ayat tilka hududullahi fala ta'taduha. These are the limits set by Allah, do not transgress them. So tilka hududullahi, similar to this, tilka, I can write down here. Tilka. Haddun is a singular and hududun is plural. So this is Jama Mukassar here. So it's a tilka hududullahi. This is mudaf, so it's not going to take tanween. Allah's limits, Allah's bounds, tilka, these, but because of the rank, tilka, demonstrative pronoun of distance has been used here as well. Tilka hududullahi. This phenomena of using the demonstrative pronouns of distance to highlight the high rank of something or someone has been also made prominent in Surah Yusuf, when the story became kind of common knowledge among elite women in the town. The story of the wife of Al-Aziz Al-Misr. She became aware of the malicious talk going on, and she invited them and prepared a banquet for them and gave them the usual cutlery, etc., etc. And when they were engaged in cutting the food stuff, etc., she asked Joseph to come in. And there it says, Falamma, I'm not going to write here, Falamma ra'aynahu, when they saw him, akbarnahu, so they were amazed, they were overwhelmed by the appearance. And then ayah is waqatta'na aydiyahunna, and they ended up cutting their hands because they were already using the cutlery. Waqulna, and they exclaimed and they said, Hasha lillahi, good Lord, ma haza basharun. That's what the word is, ma haza basharun. Ma haza basharun. This is not a human being. In haza illa malakun karimun. He is but a noble angel. And then the wife of Al-Aziz Al-Misr said, Qalat, she said, Fazalikunna. Qalat, Faza, kind of Fazalikunna allazi lumtunnani fihi. She said, Qalat, well, this is he about whom you blamed me. So those women used haza basharan, demonstrative pronoun of nearness, because they were not aware of the high rank of Yusuf. But this woman, she was aware of the high rank of Yusuf. She used zalika here, kind of like this. Zalika. Fazalikunna allazi lumtunnani fihi. So there is a contrast here. Those who didn't know the high rank of Yusuf, they used haza, but the woman who knew his high rank, she used zalika. So it's quite good example here because there is a comparison between the two kind of school of thought. Now we look at some other examples from Quran. I have written them here. وَيَقُولُونَ مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدُ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. وَيَقُولُونَ, they ask, When will this promise be fulfilled? Hazal wa'adu, this promise. In kuntum swadiqeen, if what you say is true. This is Surah Mulk, ayah number 25. So Hazal wa'adu, we can see here, this is Murakkab Ishari, and it is in Rafa construction here. Hazal waladu. Yes, here we go. Hazal wa'adu, not waladu. Hazal wa'adu is in Rafa construction here because al-wa'du is in Rafa. The next ayah, Law anzalna hazal Qur'ana ala jabalin. If we have sent down this Quran on a mountain, ra'aytahu khashiyan mutasaddian min khashyatillah. You would have seen it humble itself and split asunder from the fear of Allah. So that's Surah Hashr, ayah number 21. Law anzalna. If we have sent down what? Quran. So what is being sent down is the action of the object of the verb, object of the action of the verb. So that's why it is in nasab here. We know object in a sentence is always in nasab. Our first example was Nasara Hamidun Zaidan. Hamid helped Zaid. So Zaid there was in nasab. So this construction is in nasab. Surah Quraysh, لإلاف قريش إلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت. So they should worship the Rabb of this house, the Lord of this house. So they should worship who? Rabb. So Rabb is in nasab here, and because this is mudaf, and this construction Hazal Baiti is mudaf ilayh, which is always in jar. So Hazal Baiti here is in construction of jar. It's a jar construction. If we say Rabba Haza, Rabb of Haza, so Haza will be considered to be mudaf ilayh anyway, and it will be considered to be fi mahalli jarin. But then al-Bayti tells us that Haza here is in jar. Ajastu an akuna misla hazal gurabi, Surah Maida, ayah number 31. And this ayah is about when the first two sons of Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. So Cain killed Abel, and then he did not know what to do with the corpse of his brother. So فَبَعَثَ اللَّهُ غُرَابًا. So Allah sent a raven, and then Cain says, Cain was the older brother, Cain says that Kala ya wailati. Alas, he kind of cried, he shouted, or he cried, Ajastu an akuna misla hazal gurabi. I failed even to be like this raven. So the raven started kind of Raven really demonstrated to him that how to bury his brother. The next is Surah Yusuf again. Kala ya bushra haza gulaman. And he said, good news, this is a boy. I found a young boy, Haza Gulaman. So the difference here is that from these constructions, Hazal Baiti, Haza Gulaman, there is no Musharun Ilah here, and this is Jumla Ismiya. This is Mubtada and that is Khabar. So we can say Musharun Ilah is dropped here or Mahzuf. So Haza Gulaman, I have found a boy. Kala haza yawmun asibun. That's Surah Hud, ayah number 77, and that is about when Allah sent those messengers to Lut, and he found himself to be helpless to protect them, and he said, Kala, he said, haza yawmun asiban. This is a woeful day, this is a critical day. So haza, because it's followed by yawmun, so this is not musharun ilah because it doesn't have al on it. Musharun ilah we can say is mahzuf here. Haza is mubtada, yawmun is khabar, and yawmun is actually masuf, and that is the sifa. So this is masuf and sifa construction, and that murakkab tawsifi is khabar here of haza, of mubtada. So few examples from Quran to highlight these points, because end of the day our focus is Quran. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.